Have you ever walked into an interview room feeling perfectly calm, only to have your heart start pounding, your palms get sweaty, and your mind go completely blank from the moment the first question is asked? Or perhaps you've spent days replaying every single answer, every awkward pause, long after you've left the building? If so, you are absolutely not alone. This isn't a sign of weakness or a lack of preparation. It's a deeply human and remarkably common experience we call interview anxiety. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the interview room and explore the fascinating psychology behind why stress happens to us in these high-stakes moments. We'll look at the ancient wiring in our brains, the subtle tricks our minds play, and how understanding these dynamics can empower us rather than overwhelm us. Let's begin by understanding the foundational layer of this stress, our biology. Picture our ancestors, thousands of years ago, encountering a saber-toothed tiger. Their bodies would instantly flood with hormones, preparing them to either fight or flee for survival. Their heart rate would soar, muscles would tense, senses would sharpen, all aimed at immediate physical action. Fast forward to today, and while we might not be facing predatory cats, our brains haven't quite updated their threat assessment systems for the modern job market. When we step into an interview, our brain often interprets the situation as a form of social threat, triggering that very same fight or flight response. Hormones like cortisol and adrenaline surge through our system. This is why you feel that rapid heartbeat, the sudden urge to sweat, perhaps a trembling voice or even a dry mouth. Your body is preparing you for a physical challenge, not a verbal one. While these physiological changes were once vital for survival, in an interview they can be counterproductive. That racing heart might make it hard to focus, and shaky hands don't exactly convey confidence. Understanding that these are natural, automatic bodily reactions, a primal instinct kicking in, is the first step to detaching from the feeling of panic and recognizing it for what it is. Beyond the physical, our minds are powerful architects of interview stress. One of the most significant psychological drivers is what experts call a social evaluative threat. This is simply our profound fear of being judged negatively by others. In an interview, we are acutely aware that we are being assessed, and our desire to make a good impression can become an immense pressure. This fear of failing or being rejection can activate strong stress responses, making us feel like we're constantly under a microscope. Think about it. A job interview is inherently unfamiliar. You don't know the exact questions, the interviewer's style, or even the environment. This uncertainty breeds anxiety. Our brains crave predictability, and when it's absent, especially in a high-stakes situation, stress rises. Dr. Richard Lazarus, with his cognitive appraisal theory, explained that it's not just the event itself, but how we interpret it that amplifies our anxiety. If we appraise an interview as an extremely high-stakes, make-or-break moment, our stress levels will naturally climb. Another common experience is the dreaded mental blank. You know the answer, you've prepared for it, but suddenly your mind is empty. This phenomenon can be understood through principles from Sweller's cognitive load theory. When we're anxious, our working memory, the mental workbench where we process information, gets flooded with anxious thoughts. Am I doing well? They must think I'm unqualified. What if I mess up? These intrusive thoughts consume cognitive resources, leaving less room for you to access stored knowledge, articulate coherent responses, or even process the question properly. It's like trying to run complex software on a computer that has too many tabs open. Everything slows down or even freezes.
Beyond these core mechanisms, other factors can fan the flames of interview anxiety. A lack of preparation, of course, can fuel insecurity. But even highly prepared individuals can suffer if they grapple with perfectionism, the crippling belief that anything less than flawless is a failure. Imposter syndrome, that nagging feeling that you're not truly deserving of your achievements, can make you feel like you'll be found out in an interview. Past negative experiences, whether in job interviews or other evaluative situations, can also create a conditioned response, making you anticipate stress before it even begins. And the stress often doesn't end when you walk out the door. Many of us find ourselves caught in a cycle of post-interview rumination, replaying every scenario, dissecting every word, worrying about the impression we made, and obsessively checking for updates. This is your brain still trying to process what it perceived as a threat, searching for ways it could have done better or what might go wrong. What's fascinating and crucial to remember is that research indicates a significant disconnect. Anxiety itself is not a reliable predictor of actual job performance. In other words, just because you felt incredibly nervous doesn't mean you'll be a poor employee. Anxious nonverbal behavior might lower interview ratings, but it often doesn't reflect your capabilities on the job. This insight should offer immense reassurance, highlighting that the interview is a specific artificial environment, not a true measure of your worth or potential. So, if stress is so common and often misleading, can we do anything about it? There's a growing conversation about reframing stress. The physiological responses to anxiety and excitement are remarkably similar. By consciously interpreting your nervousness as helpful energy, as excitement for the opportunity, you might be able to leverage your body's natural arousal to enhance focus and clarity, rather than letting it overwhelm you. It's a subtle mental shift, but a powerful one. As we look ahead, the landscape of interviews is changing, and so is our understanding of psychological safety. With the increasing role of artificial intelligence in recruitment, from initial application screening to analyzing video interviews, new questions arise about how AI might influence candidate stress. However, there's also a growing societal emphasis on psychological safety in workplaces, fostering environments where people can be authentic and take risks. This suggests a future where interview design itself might evolve, aiming to reduce undue stress and create more equitable and accurate assessment processes. Ultimately, understanding why stress happens in interviews isn't about eliminating it entirely. It's about demystifying it. It's about recognizing that your racing heart, your blank mind, your post-interview worries are not flaws, but rather the complex, often unhelpful, workings of a brain designed for survival, trying its best to navigate a very modern challenge. By understanding these physiological and psychological underpinnings, we can approach our next interview not as a battle against ourselves, but with greater self-awareness, empathy, and perhaps a little less fear. Thank you for joining me in exploring the fascinating world of interview room psychology.